I know that it sounds a little cocky, and maybe it is a little cocky, but there's not a generalist agency that will beat us at what we do for our landscaping clients. And there's just not. And I would be willing to bet a lot of money on that because we are dedicated to this industry. Our whole staff is committed to this industry.
Hey, welcome to episode 248. I have the great pleasure here to have Aiden Silvers with us. Aiden is one of my coaches in the 7FA program. He is a mover and a shaker. He is very accessible. I can get him at just about all hours of the day, and he's helped my business out tremendously. And we're here today to talk about his business, green marketing, and he specializes in the lawn care and landscaping industry. So I'd like to welcome Aiden, and Aiden's going to tell us a little bit about what he does, who he specializes in. I'm very excited about his business because we're going to get into why he's got a distinct advantage over every other industry or agency, I should say, as it relates to his particular niche. So, Aiden, can you tell us a little bit how you got started, and what makes you different in this industry?
Yeah, well, brother, first of all, I appreciate the opportunity to come on your podcast here and try to bring value to your audience, right? And it's always nice to collaborate with you and chat with you. You're very kind. Thank you for your kind words. So yeah, just to kind of get kicked off here, I do a few things. I know Robert because I am a member of Seven Figure Agency. This is a mastermind peer group of other agency owners, about 400 people in there. And joining this community was one of the best decisions I've ever made because it showed me there was hope for me and how these big dogs do things, right? Eventually, I became a coach in this community, the operations coach to be exact. And the reason for that is because I've always been an operationally minded person. That's what's in my heart. I'm less of a CEO, more of a COO. I still do all the CEO visionary things, but there's something about building a quality system that generates a result at scale on repeat. It's a really nice, rewarding feeling. And that's how I know Robert. I'm a coach there, and we got connected and love bringing in value and just chatting. Great guy. What I do on the agency end is, as Robert mentioned, I have a niche based marketing agency serving the lawn and landscape industry, or really the green industry. So it goes a little bit beyond that. Think about hardscapes and outdoor living areas and trees and irrigation or land clearing, this kind of stuff. And I've been doing this for about 13 years now, about 6 years in the niche specifically. But that's a little bit about who I am and what my day to day looks like. It's a good balance between coach and serving our industry clients at the agency here.
Can you speak a little bit to I what I see as a competitive advantage for you as it relates to landscaping and or lawn care? And I think one of the things we talked about is some of your like mandatory demand, not demands, but just because you know what works, right? I mean, and can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, for me, it's all about delivering the best result as consistently as possible. And that's one of the biggest reasons I decided to niche down into an industry. Because once you really understand the ins and outs of this industry and the business model, I tell my clients and my prospects, like, hey man, I know that you think you're special, but you're not. You have the same issues that every other landscaper has. And good news for you is I've already solved those from a growth engine perspective. And a lot of times when I have, sales calls with our clients, it's very minimally about, what we do, marketing and all that. And it's more about like, hey, if we can do what we say we do and grow your landscape company, how do you plan to get out of the field? how do you plan to keep your profit margins at a high consistent level? How do you plan to field these leads and manage the admin work and the bids and the invoicing and answering the phone, right? And so we're like very little speaking about, our services and SEO and all the boring stuff. And look, we do show them our evidence of success. We have unlimited amounts of that. But ultimately, when we take on a client, we want to know, can they handle growth? Because there's a portion that cannot. We've had people that we've taken from 0 to 1,000,000 in a couple of years, and they file bankruptcy because they're unable to manage it's a big, quick boost, right? Like, it's acceleration of success, and not everybody can manage that properly, and so, yeah, really understanding the industry allows us to, fix the pain points, advise on business growth. And you mentioned policies. We have really firm kind of policies that are mandatory because without them, it's going to jeopardize our chances of success. And one of those is a custom website build. So our growth program includes every marketing service that you might hear of: ads, SEO, website, social media, Google reviews, all these different things in one program. And we'll get people that come to us and say, Aiden, we love you guys. We want to work with you, but we just dropped 15 grand on a new website. And our answer to that is, we're sorry to hear that. Our policy is we're going to create a brand new website for you following our systems, our formulas, because we know what works in the industry. And if you cannot commit to that, we're going to have to refer you to a peer. We offer a growth program. It's really, think of like a turnkey solution or an all-inclusive package. It's everything in one, because we've realized that when you sell a la carte style services or individualized services, it becomes very difficult to get a high performance level of results consistently. And, when people come to us and they say, hey, Aiden, I want you to do a website, or I want you to do SEO. Do you really think these guys know what SEO is? They have no clue. They just hear the term SEO when they think about growth. And so what they really want is to grow their business. And so our program, the goal is to grow your business. It's not to make a quick buck off of you. Otherwise, we would just be like, hey, we'll just do, just your Google profile or just your website, because we can do that very easily, but it's not going to get the results that most people want. And so, because of that, all we do is this growth program. And at the end of the day, the objective is to create incredible success stories off of that.
So it's that abundance mindset. So that's why you're asking next level questions, like, you know what you can do, right? You've done it, 30, 40 plus times. It's but you also know that they have to be at a certain level with their business to handle that growth. And typically, I mean, what does that kind of look like for you? Is there a certain number of crews? Is there a certain uh dollar volume? I mean, what are some of those um qualifiers, if you will, that they're going to be a good fit?
Yeah, this is a really great question. So, I'm going to answer it in two segments. So, the first segment is we definitely pre qualify. We ask about revenue, location, services provided, how many crews do you have, how many admin staff do you have, because we want to get a good idea of your operations, right? And most of the time, the feedback there isn't going to be great unless they're doing over 1,000,000 in annual revenue, right? In annual gross. And so, um, those are honestly the easier, much simpler relationships to deal with. However, I'm in business to make an impact on the lives of others. There are agencies out there that say, "Hey, all we work with is 1,000,000 plus," right? And I completely get that. It is a big headache saver and a lot simpler to manage that production and those relationships, right? However, like I said, I'm here to make an impact. And so my favorite thing to do is to take somebody from 200,000 a year to 3 million. This is a life-changing impact, not only on this business owner, but his family, his children, his generations to come, his employees, his team, their families, their customers, right? It's an incredibly big impact compared to taking somebody from 3 mil to 5 mil, right? I mean, it's cool, it is great, but there's something about that small guy. So when I meet with these guys who are doing like 200K, 500K, I still ask them these questions. I already know the answer to them, but I ask them so that I can show them the perspective of where they're going to want to be. Here's where you're going to want to be in these particular sectors. Here's where you're going to want to have an office admin, and I'm measuring their mindset. If they are a growth mindset, they're ready to scale, they're ready to hire, they're ready to throw the ad spend, they're ready to level up, then welcome aboard. We're going to take you on. It is a little risky because it doesn't always work. But when it does work, it's a phenomenal experience. We become like best friends, right? Although the jokes and everything that come with that, and because of that, uh, that is our really our core. And that's what makes us different because a lot of agencies will turn away under a certain revenue, and we do too. Like if you're not doing like at least 150K, it's gonna be very difficult just to afford our services, right? And look, we are open to everybody. We tell them though up front, this is a price. If you're doing 80K a year, this will be very difficult, very risky for you. So unless you have startup capital to inject, I did not recommend the program. I tell these people that, right? And some of them are like gun ho and they're like, oh no, we can do it, we can do it. So I always leave the door open.
Yeah, and it's not, it comes across as arrogant, but it's not just because there's minimal table stakes in all this, right? And there's minimal spends, and then you have to do that for 90, maybe even 190 or 180 days, when before you start seeing good results that get you, good ROI. And so it's not, it's just the way it is. And my heart goes out to landscapers because I was one. I had a small landscaping company in my 20s. Yeah, I built boulder walls. I did, my specialty was erosion control. So people would build a house like right on the edge of a hill, and they couldn't afford, this is back in the 90s, right? Early 90s. To do the proper retaining wall would be at least $100,000. And, I have a little bit of background in erosion control, so there were techniques that we could do to retain the hillside, and they would spend a fraction of that. But it is hard work. It's again, you're moving boulders around, you're shoveling rock, you're swinging mauls and hammers and chainsaws and everything else. And it is a cool feeling when you can, because you came from that, or when I came from that background, it's cool when you can help businesses like that. And it's, I think what you're doing is really cool. And and then the point I want to get across is, you have a huge advantage if anybody's looking for help in the digital space in this area, because you've seen it all. And I would speak to, you've seen it all literally across the country, right? And can you speak to that, some of those idiosyncrasies as it relates to California versus Florida versus the Midwest?
Yeah, I mean, look, you definitely have, different markets and different income and cost for leads and things like that. But other than that, and other than the seasonality of it, it really is the same because it's the same business model. It's the same kind of services. It's the same upselling, right? And the program is the program. The formula is the formula. That doesn't change no matter where you are in the states. The only thing that might change is it may take a little longer for it to take effect because of your competition that you face or because of the ad spend that you would need to throw in, right? I mean, if your cost per lead is $100 because you're in like Austin, Texas, compared to some guy in like in Georgia somewhere in a small town who's got a $30 cost per lead. Obviously, we're gonna have different experiences there, but ultimately, it's the same approach, the same path forward. And something that I'll mention back to what you said, being niche specific and focused. I say this to our prospects and our clients, and I know that it sounds a little cocky, and maybe it is a little cocky, but there's not a generalist agency that will beat us at what we do for our landscaping clients. And there's just not, and I would be willing to bet a lot of money on that because we are dedicated to this industry. Our whole staff is committed to this industry. When we write content, we know the industry in and out for all the services and all the nuances. When we onboard a client, we have templates for things like service lists. Every service is laid out. Every nuance of that service is laid out. What kind of applications do you do? Do you do liquid aeration, right? What kind of paver products do you use? All these things are extremely narrow and hyper focused on the industry. And that's what Google wants to see in order to make you the authority. So when you have a generalist agency who works with a lawyer and then a dentist and then a dog groomer and then a landscaper, they will never beat green marketing at what they do for landscapers. Now, on the flip side, there is a negative to that. They obviously have a way bigger audience than we do. We are very focused on this industry. So it's a little bit lesser of a opportunity for volume, high volume, but we sacrifice that for high level performance. And at the end of the day, as an agency, we don't need thousands of clients to be successful, right? We maybe need 100 because our program is a high ticket program. We have an average ROI of 8 to 12x. That's the average. So if you spend 50K a year, you're going to make about 400 to 600K for the year just from what we do for you. Not your upselling, not your word of mouth, not your referrals, not your organic gross increase, but specifically the platforms that we manage. And that's the average. We have people that do more. And of course, we have people that do a little less. But because we're able to track the data using tools like What Converts and these different lead tracker tools, we can have this average and these numbers. And again, it all goes back to knowing your industry. That's the core of it.
And you're using call tracking, you're using, again, all the tools, call tracking slash recording, because I assume you want to establish a baseline and then show the ROI obviously throughout the process.
Yeah, so I can touch on that. Something that makes us very unique as an agency is our measurement of success is very black and white. It is leads and sales. That is what we both agree on when we work together. This is what's important. So you're not going to beat me up about your keyword placement going down 2 placements over a week. You're not going to beat me up about impressions and conversion rates and all these like metrics. We're going to look at your lead volume and your sales that generate from that. All that other stuff I just mentioned are good to look at, but those are indicators. Those are secondary. Those are indicators of are we potentially having success. When you look at leads and sale numbers, that's not an indicator. That is the success. And so we use tools like What Converts, phone tracking systems, capture all the leads that we generate for our clients, and then we can attribute sales dollars to those. We can see what platform they came from, and it's the ultimate accountability tool, not only for us to show that we are successful, right? I mean, you can't dispute if we're showing you that we made you a 10x. You just can't dispute it. It's the raw data. And on the flip side, what I love about it is like you mentioned, we do have access to call transcripts, call recordings, how they're handling these leads. And, if somebody says, "Hey, Aiden, I'm not getting any leads," typically I'll go through their system and look, and I'll say, "Well, Billy Joe, you answered 2 of the last 10 phone calls. How do you expect us to have success together?" Right? And it holds everybody accountable, and they cannot run away from that.
Yeah. I laugh. Yeah, I laugh because it's and I do it too, right? I mean, I've listened to my own calls that people call me, and I'm like, "You knucklehead," you're and but it's huge. People don't realize, I think, how huge it is, and to your point, um, that level of accountability, I think we get paid to own the problem, right? So we do our best to own the problem, but then, if our clients aren't, taking care of their part, nobody's achieving the success that they need. So,
Correct. Yeah, the analogy that I use, I think I might have stole it from another peer, but maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. It's been a while, but picture this. It's a NASCAR race, and we are building you the fastest race car on the track, and we're gonna put you on that track. You're gonna start catching up and getting into the first place. But at the end of the day, you're the driver. So you can crash and burn this thing at any time. You have to be a good driver. You have to be consistent. You have to not go into a pit stop for 6 months, right? You have to put pedal to the metal, foot on the gas, go forward. And we are here to coach you. We're in your ear, telling you to, hey, look out for these things, look out for that in 3 months, right? Because we just see the journey over and over. That it's almost like watching your favorite movie every day for the rest of your life, right? It's like you're just predicting. You ever do that and you're like saying the words that they're saying in the script, and so that's the way we see it in the niche, just because we've been doing it for years, and we've been building this formula for years, the same formula. It's not like we've tried 100 different things, right? It's like we do this, and we made it better and better for 6 years based on experiences from landscapers.
well, and you become more of a trusted advisor, right? And it's not good enough to deliver the lead. Now you have to help them convert and nurture and everything else. And it's okay. It just at times it gets. I know for me, sometimes it gets a little frustrating. Um, and I imagine my coaches get frustrated with me too, and how I do things. But it is fun. It's fun when you're helping that business succeed to that level. I just want a couple comments and then or a couple of questions and then a comment, and then we can land this thing if you're okay with that. But how are you handling your clients coming to you asking about AI? What are your thoughts on this at this point?
Yeah, so our industry of lawn landscapers, we don't have a lot of people who are interested in that because they hate technology, right? However, we do have some who are intrigued, and mostly about AI optimization and search engine integration with AI. And what we're kind of telling people right now is, as far as that specific AI sector, the best way to optimize for that is very, very similar, if not the exact same, to SEO, right? So what we're doing here is becoming the authority online for your business in your area for the services you provide. You are the expert. You're the best. You're the authority. And how do you do that? You do that through really great content, very relevant content, going into the nuances. You do it through a great website that is fast, loads correctly, structured properly, has the right URL structure. It's good on mobile. You do that by having great Google reviews and responding to your Google reviews. You do that by posting on social media. All these different things are to build your authority with Google, but it's building your authority in general. So it's gonna carry over to ChatGPT and Gemini and all these other things. And look, right now we're kind of in a a phase of the digital world where it's uncertain. We're gonna land somewhere in the next 5 years or probably even sooner where Google might not be the same Google that we use. We might use voice, we might use Siri or Alexa and just say, "Hey, find me a landscaper near me," and it's gonna choose one for you based on who has the best authority, right? Because it's convenient. And so, we're gonna go in a really interesting direction. There's a lot of companies that are fighting for this. You have Meta, Amazon, Google, you have X with Elon Musk, right? And somebody is going to end up building the solution to capitalize on this tech. So where does it go? I'm not really certain. I know that it will shift. And as agency owners, you know this very well. Wherever it shifts to, it doesn't matter. What matters is that me and you have to build the solution for our customers to take advantage of, and that's why we stay on top of this stuff to be ready for that.
Yeah, we gotta own the problem, right? So, their success is our success, and, um, I wanna share this with you, I don't know if I did. Maybe I did at the conference, but I posted something on LinkedIn. It was a YouTube video of one of the podcasts, and LinkedIn asked me if I wanted to verify. I said yes. It took me out to Clear, and if you're unfamiliar with Clear, it's if you go through the airport, you have the lines that are clear, so you join up for Clear and you can cut the TSA lines. So it went out. It asked my phone number. I entered it in. It took me out to my Clear account. I took a picture of my mug and said, "Yep, verified," and posted it. So I think that the thing I keep in the back of my mind with AI, and I kind of share with my clients, is it has to be anything you do, try to do as much as you can that is human verified. So, Chamber of Commerce, if you want to join the Rotary, if you want to sponsor a team, if you do a blog, make sure I think you have your LinkedIn profile with the blog and maybe even your Facebook profile. But it AI, I think, is going through a phase, and it's looking to get more curated information and validated information versus because there's a lot of people spinning out content that's AI derived, and it becomes a big echo chamber, right? So, and Google and other AI agents are kind of recognizing that and saying, okay,
Oh, absolutely. If you don't mind, I want to jump in on that because when AI first kind of came into the world, there's a lot of people using AI to write content and to write it in a very general way. It's like, "Hey, make me a blog about sod," right? And, like, it would just spit out this AI slop. We call it AI slop now, but back in the day, everybody would do that, and I just knew that Google was not gonna be okay with that eventually, because it's all so, jumbled up together. It's the same stuff rewritten and repurposed, and so, lo and behold, today, any websites that did do that, they're actually being deranked and penalized because it's crappy content, right? So that's very important. What's also important is that AI is a phenomenal invention and we use it for content, but we do it in a way that is very unique to our agency that nobody else has because we made custom AI models. We've taken our tens of thousands of blogs and website pages and posts that we've created from humans for landscapers and made custom models that reference these documents, right? So we have a knowledge base of these content pieces that were done by a human following our procedures. And then we go into AI with this custom model and say, hey, make me this. There's a big custom prompt. So it's very well crafted, but you cannot just go into AI and say, hey, make me a website or whatever, right? It's not because you have to realize millions of other people are doing that too, right? If not more. So you have to narrow it down and get more unique. So
yeah, not to nerd out too much, but I think it would be cool to um, take all your transcripts from all your call tracking and then put that into AI and make maybe an FAQ. So in other words, You know what I mean? Like, here's 500 calls or whatever the deal is. Here's all the transcripts, you know, make as many decent FAQs for the site based off of these transcripts.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, for anybody out there who's, curious about AI or maybe you hate AI, AI is going to be everything. Everything that you do in your life is going to have AI associated. Don't be one of those guys who had a beeper for 20 years and wouldn't get the iPhone, right? Like, and now what's funny about that is those guys will wait for 20 years, but guess what? Eventually they're going to get the iPhone. So you should have just got it in the first place. That way you're ahead of the curve. And ultimately, it's all about convenience. This tech and this innovation is to make things more accessible for you and more convenient to produce a better result. It's not, you don't need to get all tied up emotionally and political, and this person uses it, and oh, it's owned by Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Like, come on, get over that. They own everything else anyway. So,
Well, somebody kind of explained it to me this way, and I believe it is. It's really all it is for us. I mean, I'm not talking programmers or people at a higher level, let's say engineers or whatever. But for me, it's just really a search engine on steroids. I mean, it's and you do. I know I can do a lot more, but I think that's kind of how I use it. And you know, so so there's a couple. One last thing I want to cover, and then we'll get into how to get a hold of you. And then throughout this, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're going to have a QR code in the corner that you can click on or take a picture of or what have you, and connect with Aiden if you need help in the lawn care or landscaping industry. But I want to talk about your interview with Gary V. Uh, Fill us in on that.
yeah, man. So, Gary Vee is a hero of mine. He really helped shape my mindset and showed me positivity and things like patience and gratitude from a young age. Very important person in my life. And I was blessed and fortunate enough to actually meet him about 4 years ago in Miami at a private party. I have like a membership thing, so I get some perks. And I met him and I sat with him for about 5 minutes or so, and really kind of got introduced. And that was a beautiful moment for me. And eventually, just in his community, in his membership community, I would get on his shows and pop up and be like, "Oh, it's Aiden," and I asked him to do a podcast with me at one point, and he did. So it was like a 10, 15 minute, I think it was actually 10-minute podcast. Very short. He's a very busy guy, but it was amazing, and we go pretty deep into the landscape industry's problems and his advice for these business owners. And I actually got to go spend some time with him. From your calendar. One second. Minutes. Apologies for that. So good old Alexa, talk about AI, right? But I got to go spend time with him in Orlando at a Comic Con, a big convention, Comic Con, and spent like 15 minutes with him over dinner or whatever you want to call that. And it was so super cool, man. Such a genuine, humble, will give you the shirt off his back guy. He was drinking a beer with me. He actually, when he walked up to me, the first thing he did was offered to help me take a drink of my soda. So he like grabbed my soda. He's like, "Hey, you want me to give you want some of this?" That's the first thing he did. I was like, "Bro, wait, who else does that?" Very loving, genuine, kind person. One of my favorite people in the world. And the quote here above my head is from Gary Vaynerchuk, and it is that adversity is the foundation of success. And that has been a pivotal quote for me for really all the way back, like 15 years old, right? I'm 31 today, so 16 years. It's yeah, very very special place in my heart for Gary Vee.
Well, you're a leader, Aiden, and I don't know how many people. I know there's a lot of people in the 7FA community that, quite honestly, probably wouldn't be around if it wasn't for you. So, you're an inspiration to all of us. outside of these QR codes, how can we get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, firstly, thank you for saying that, brother. It means a lot. And everything that I do is done thanks to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And all these things that you see today has not always been the case. I've not always been the greatest of leaders or the greatest at bringing value to people. And God has changed my life in order to serve others, and it really is something special to make an impact. And so I appreciate that more than you know. Anybody that wants to reach out, I have an open door policy. So look me up on social media, particularly on Facebook. I'm most active there. Aiden Silvers. I'm the guy in the wheelchair with Gary V as my profile picture. So pretty easy to find, right? You can go to our website, greenmarketingfl.com. That's greenmarketingfl.com. They wanted like 50 grand for the greenmarketing.com, and I'm like, I'll pass on that, right? Maybe one day. I'm not at Robert's level yet, so when I get there, maybe I'll buy it. But you can find me there, and just yeah, feel free to reach out. We have a mastermind community for landscapers called Landscaping Business Success. It's free. It's a Facebook group. There's 1,500 people in there. We do sessions every Monday night where we gather on Zoom and just go over pain points and issues. And so we have a lot of resources in a community, and we don't just do marketing. We bring you value, right? So reach out, get in touch, and we'll see what we can do to serve you.
That's really cool. I mean, because not everybody is at those levels in business. We all have to start somewhere, and they can plug into that community and have great ideas, at least to do what they can, right? To get to that level. And then once they're at that level, they can plug into your agency.
Yeah, definitely. And just a short little side note there. I made this community because, again, growing your business is difficult. Like, it's easy for us to give you a growth engine, but what happens to your business from that, from operations and employees and crews and equipment and loans and all this stuff is like we can't necessarily fix that for you. So I established this community to support everyone and be able to elevate the industry as a whole.
Perfect. Well, I really appreciate your time. I think we've gone a little bit over. And join us next week, guys. We're going to be rolling out a new tool that we actually developed for uh, local SEO to see how you're doing in what we call the naturals or the SERPs. It's really cool. We'll do a demo on it, and then we should be releasing it hopefully mid to late November. But Aiden, I just want to wish you a great weekend. It's been a pleasure. I'm hoping we can connect again in one form or the other. We'll probably, if nothing else, see you next March.
Absolutely, man. Reach out anytime. It's always good to chat.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for watching Local SEO Tactics podcast. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss new insight. We've got more expert tips on SEO, AEO, and digital marketing strategies coming your way every week. Want to dive deeper? Check out our other videos right here, or grab our free resources in the description below. Thanks again for tuning in, and remember, staying ahead online starts right here.